boys and girls. I was going to go over the spiral review questions with you for the Monday column. So if you are watching this video, you need to pull up your spiral review and have it to the side. So whenever we're going over the questions, once you know what the answer is, you can pause the video and type in the answer. These are all questions today that you should be able to do on your own. They're things that we've done in class, but I know a lot of people have said it's a lot harder doing it at home than it is here at school. So, your first question, you are comparing these numbers. Okay, so we're using these symbols, and if you forgot what those different symbols mean, remember, less than makes an L. You can write the word less in it. Greater than goes the opposite way, and what we said in class is it makes an ugly G. You can make an ugly G out of it. Really ugly G. And then equal is just an equal sign. Okay, so when we're comparing two numbers, you want to start at the highest place value. So I got 1 in the 100,000s place for both. So 1, 2 in the 10,000s, 7 in the thousands. When I get to the hundreds place, I see there's a 4 here and an 8 here. I know that 4 is smaller than 8, so this number must be less than this number. So we would put less than as our symbol. All right, our next question, we have 2,843,928, and we are comparing that to 3,999,487. Now, what I noticed some of us were doing back when we were in school is a lot of us were looking at that back number and saying, oh, that's bigger than that one. You always start at the largest place value. Always start with the largest value of the number. So if I look at the millions, if I had $1 million, you would think, oh, that's a lot of money. It would be a lot of money. The 2 million is going to be more than 3. So automatically this number is less than. Always look at that larger place value first. That's where you always start. Okay, where's my eraser? Okay. Our next question. Find the sum. Now on your paper, on your computer, it has it side to side. We don't want to add things side to side. We want to do it straight up and down. So we have 892,422 plus, so we want to make sure we line up the commas in the number, and that will help us line up our place values as well. So I have it all nice and lined up. Okay, so if I look in the ones column, I have 0 plus 2 for a sum of 2. 2 goes in the ones. 2 plus 7 will give me a sum of 9. 9 will go in the tens. 4 plus 7 gives me a sum of 11. The 1 goes in the hundreds. I'm going to add the 1 above the thousands. 1 plus 2 gives me a sum of 3 plus 4 gives me a sum of 1 plus 2 gives me a sum of 3, plus 4 gives me a sum of 7. 9 plus, so I put the 7 in the thousands place. 9 plus 5 gives me a sum of 14. Carry my 1 to the 100,000s, and that would give me a 9. So I would have 947,192. Okay, next question asks us to find the product. We have 27 times 23. And I changed the question on yours. It originally said 827, so if it says 827 this time, just change it to 27 times 23. And make it a little bit more reasonable for 4th grade. All right, so we are going to bubble our 2, knowing that we're not using this 2 yet. So we're just looking at the 27 times 3. 7 times 3 gives me a product of 21. The 1 will go in the ones place, and I'll carry the 2 to the tens place. 2 times 3 is a product of 6 plus 2, gives me a sum of 8, so I put the 8 in the tens place. So I'm done with the 3. Now I'm done with the 2. So now, since I've marked this out, I've popped my bubble, and now the 2 is ready. But remember, I know that 2 is not just a 2, it's a 20 because it's in the tens place. So you're going to have to put a placeholder here to hold that spot. We did a smiley face in class. You could do an arrow, just whatever you would like to do. So now we're doing 27 times 2. We do it out to the side. 7 times 2 equals a product of 14. The 4 goes in the ones. The ones goes in the tens. 2 times 2 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5. So now I'm going to transfer that number over here. And I want to combine those 2 products. I want to bring them together. It looks like my computer fell asleep. Okay, so I'm going to add them together. 1 plus 0 equals 1. 8 plus 4 equals 12. So the 2 will go in the tens. Add the 1 above the hundreds. 1 plus 5 equals 6. So your product should be 621. Okay? If you're watching this video, some of you have already noticed because you've been in my Google Meets, Miss Murphy has a new hair color. She dyed her hair over the Thanksgiving break. It's a little messy right now. So, I wanted it chocolate brown. So our secret word today, since you're watching the video, is chocolate because Miss Murphy has chocolate colored hair now. Can't eat it though. Y'all stuck in your teeth. So chocolate is the secret word. Okay, find the quotient. We have 6 is our divisor. 5,389 is our dividend. And I really hope soon, guys, that we can come back so I can really teach this division well. It's hard doing it virtually. I think I said it every video. All right, so remember, we have our division family. Dad, mom, sister, brother, pet kangaroo. So some of you have told your parents about those, but then you forget what they mean. So remember, those just help us remember the steps for long division because it's kind of hard to remember all the steps. So D tells me to first divide. So I'm looking to see if I have 5 cookies, 6 kids, how many will each kid get? Well, 5 cookies, 6 kids, you're going to have an upset person because they're not going to get a cookie. So you're going to have to add this second digit to that number. So you have to think of now I have to think of what times 6 gets me something close to 53. So we have to know multiplication really well. I know that 6 times 9 equals 54. That's really close, but we're not supposed to go over. So since we did 6 times 9, let's try 6 times 8, which I know 6 times 8 would equal, for multiplication, a product of 48. So we did multiplication next. 6 times 8 equals 48. S tells me to subtract. I've seen a lot of people making mistakes on their subtraction, so make sure you are being very careful and borrowing. I cannot do 3 minus 8, so I have to go over to the 5, take 1 away, and give 10 to the ones place. You have to make sure you're borrowing, or it's going to mess up a lot with the problem. 13 minus 8 equals 5. So now I'm going to bring down my 8. Since I brought down, I'm going to keep going and go back to the beginning. I'm going to go back and divide again. So now I have to think of what times 6 gets me something close to 58 without going over. Like we said earlier, we know that 6 times 9 equals 54. That's pretty close to 58. And it doesn't go over either, so that must be our answer. So 6 will divide into 58 9 times. M tells me to multiply. 6 times 9 equals 54. S tells me to subtract. I can do 8 minus 4, so I just have to do 4. 5 minus 5 is 0, so I don't need to put anything there. B tells me to bring down, so I'm going to bring down the 9. Since I brought down, I need to keep going. So I have to think of what times 6 is close to 49. Gotta know those multiplication facts. I know that 6 times 8 equals 48, so that's really close to 49. So the 8 will go above that 9. So I've divided. 6 times 8 equals 48. S tells me to subtract. Since I have nothing to bring down, then 1 is my remainder. So our answer should be 898, remainder 1. Make sure you go put that in your spiral. Make sure my computer doesn't fall asleep again. And remember, as they're doing these with you, like, working them out on your whiteboard. The purpose of this is so we can remember these different steps when we go to 5th grade. Miss Laird will have to reteach all this math to you. You'll have a pretty good understanding of it, even though it's been a strange kind of year. So I'm writing my answers down too, so when you guys turn these in, it'll be easy for me to grade. There are 22,456 pine trees in the park. The park workers are going to plant 6,478 more trees this year. How many trees will there be when they are done? Okay, so let's see how we have 22,456 pine trees. The park workers are going to plant 6,478 more. So we have this original number. We're putting this much more with it, combining them, putting them together. We want to know how many we'll have when they're done. So if we're combining those, think about what word, what operation makes you think to combine or bring together. Add. We're going to have to add here. Okay, so I'm going to look in the ones column. 6 plus 8 is a sum of 14. So 4 will go in the ones column. Lost my breath. Put a 1 above the tens. 1 plus 5 is a sum of 6 plus 7 equals 13. So the 3 will go in the tens. Carry the 1 above the hundreds. 1 plus 4 equals 5 plus 4 equals 9. So the 9 will go in. 9 will go in the hundreds. 2 plus 6 equals 8. 8 will go in the thousands, and then the 2 would go in the 10,000. So we have 28,934, and that would be trees. Make sure you label that. I know when you get to 5th grade, Miss Laird will count off if you don't label it. So we want to make sure we get that habit going now. I'm trying to get that habit going for me too. Okay. Just trucking right along here, y'all. Now, I realized last week on the spiral, I told you wrong on the multiples. And I didn't catch it till about Wednesday. So, I apologize for that. But you know what? I'm human too. I'm going to make mistakes, especially trying to talk in video and make sure I'm explaining everything. I might go too fast and mess up somehow. So, list the first 5 multiples for the number 18. So multiples, we think of the word many, and it makes you think of multiplication. So it's like skip counting. I have a fun game that we do in class when we get to multiples. I'm going to probably wait till we're back in class before we do it because it's a pretty fun game, and I think you'll get more out of it doing it here than trying to do it virtually. So that is coming. Okay, so our first multiple for 18 would be whatever 18 times 1 is. And that would be 18. So 18 is our first multiple. Our next multiple for 18 is going to be whatever 18 times 2 is. So if you don't know what 18 times 2 is, you may have to work it out to the side. 8 times 2 equals 16. So the 6 goes in. The 1s carry the 1 above the 10s. 1 times 2 equals 2 plus 1 equals 3. So that would be 36 would be my next multiple. Now, instead of me doing 18 times 3, 18 times 4, you can just keep adding 18. Because remember, all multiplication is repeated addition. It's all you have to do with it is just repeat the addition. So now for 18 times 3, I'm just going to add 18 more. 6 plus 8 equals 54. Carry the 1. 1 plus 3 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5. So 18 times 3 would equal 54. Next, we would do 18 times 4. So we're just adding 18 more. 4 plus 8 equals a sum of 12. 2 goes in the 1s. 1 goes in the 10s. Can't think. 1 plus 5 equals 6 plus 1 equals 7. So 18 times 4 would be 72. That's my next multiple. And we usually do more multiples of like 6 and 7 and more of the basics. So these are a little bit more complicated, but if you just keep adding 18, so 18 times 5 is our last one. Just keep adding 18, it's not too bad. 2 plus 8 equals a sum of 10. The 0 goes in the 1s. The 1 goes above the 10s. 1 plus 7 equals 8 plus 1 equals 9. So our last multiple of 18 is going to be 90. So our multiples for 18, our first 5, you always want to make sure you see how many to list, would be 18, 36, 54, 72, and 90. Okay, so next it's asking for our factors. So factors begins with an F, and we think factors are few. So there are few of them. And factors are all those numbers you multiply to get to our product. So 1 is a factor for every single number. Doesn't matter what it is. 1's going to be a factor. So we do a factor rainbow with our factors. And the arc of the rainbow is going to connect the two numbers that multiply to get to that multiple. So what times 1 would equal 18? Pretty difficult question. It's going to be 18, y'all. So 1 times 18. Our next number we're going to check is 2. So if I have the number 18, let me write it up here. The number 18, to see if 2 is a factor, you look at the ones place. If the ones place is even, 2 is a factor. 18 is an even number because I know that, well, I know the 8 is in the ones place, and that 8 is an even number. So 2 is going to be a factor as well. But now you're going to think of what times 2 equals 18. Here's where you have to know those multiplication facts really, really well, and not using any type of like rhyming or any type of rhymes or songs. Like you have to know it. So 2 times 9 equals 18. Next number to check is 3. Anything, and I do have a trick for 3, but I'm going to wait till you get back just because I don't want to confuse you. Anything times 3 equals 18. 3 times 6 equals 18. Now look, by doing the arc, I've kind of closed up the options for me to look, check to see if they're a factor. After 3, so I only have 2 numbers that are left between 3 and 6, which is 4 and 5. So anything times 4 equal 18? Nope. Does anything times 5 equal 18? Nope. So I have listed all 6 factors of 18. Okay, so the next thing it asks for me to do on that question is to see if this number is prime or composite. So prime means it has only 2 factors, 1 and itself. Well, this has 6 factors, so there's no way that it's prime. It's got 6 factors. Composite means it has 3 or more factors. This has 6, so this one's going to be a composite number. lots of questions to answer on that small little box. And now we have one question left. Okay, so I'm going to erase. Complete the pattern and find the rule. I like patterns. I think it's one of those things that make you slow down and think. And I think we all could do that more. Even Miss Murphy. Okay, so the thing with patterns is you have to see what is happening each time to the number. Like, how are we going from step to step? So if you, from number to number. So if I look at the 1, I have to think of how I get from 1 to 4. Well, I know I could do 1 plus 3 to equal 4. I also know I can do 1 times 4 to equal 4. So that's really the only 2 things I can do. So let's see if any of those work for the next step. So then we have 4 to 16. Well, if I add, let's see, 4 plus 12 equals 16. Anything else I can need a 4 to get to 16? 4 times 4. Well, look, we did 4 times 4 in the first one. So I bet that is our rule that we're going to use. We're going to do times 4 because we've done it twice now. So now I'm going to have to do 16 times 4 to get this product. 6 times 4 equals 24. The 4 goes in the 1s. The 2 goes above the 10s. 1 times 4 equals 4 plus 2 equals 6. So that would be 64. So since the rule is times 4, I'm going to do times 4 again. For 64 times 4. 4 times 4 equals 16. Carry the 1. 6 times 4 equals 24 plus 1 equals 25. Rule is still times 4. And again, if I go too fast, it's a video, you can always pause. So times 4. 6 times 4 equals 24. The 4 will go in the 1's place. The 2 will go in the 10's. 5 times 4 equals 20 plus 2 equals 22. 4 times 2 equals 8 plus 2 equals 10. So that would be 1,024. Wow, we got some big numbers. Went from 1 to 1,024. All right, last question. All right, so we go 1, 3, 9, 27, 81. I think I did too many on that last one. I think there's only 3 blanks, so you just do whatever it told you to do. I think I went too far. Okay, once again, let's look and see what's happening. I go from 1 to 3. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Or 1 times 3 equals 3. So one of those maybe. From 3 to 9. 3 plus 6 equals 9. 3 plus 3 does not equal 9. Excuse me. 3 times 3 equals 9. I think I'm seeing the pattern. Now how do I get from 9 to 27? I could add, I believe, 18? Yes. I don't think that's the pattern. I think I'm doing times 3. Let's see if 27 times 3 equals, let's see if 27 times 3 equals 81. Oh my gosh, y'all, I don't know what I'm doing. 27, I heard someone talking in the hallway and it got me thrown off. I'll blame it on them. 7 times 3 equals 21. Carry the 2. 2 times 3 equals 6 plus 2. Yep. So it's going to be times 3. So now I know the rule is times 3. So I need to do times 3. So 81 times 3. That's my rule. That's my pattern. 1 times 3 equals 3. 8 times 3 equals 24. 243. 2 more to go. Times 3. 3 times 3 equals a product of 9. 4 times 3 equals a product of 12. 2 goes in the tens. 1 goes in the hundreds. 2 times 3 equals 6 plus 1 equals 7. So that equals 729. Out of room. 729 times 3. Going to keep on multiplying by 3. 9 times 3 equals 27. 7 goes in the ones. 2 goes above the tens. 2 times 3 equals 6 plus 2 equals 8. 3 times 7 equals 21. So that'd be 2,187. Oh, wait. Okay, so, I don't know why I circled that. Sorry, I got excited. Make sure you have these 3 numbers listed. Don't just put the last one. You're supposed to fill out the pattern. You're supposed to fill out those last 3. Okay, so if you do the spiral, do these Monday questions and turn it in, you're done with the spiral. Sounds good. If you want to do both days, go for it. It's just extra practice, helps you remember it. All right, guys. See you later.